There are moments when we stand at the crossroads of uncertainty, wondering if an unseen hand is truly at work. The world, with all its shadows and shifting tides, seems indifferent to our troubles, yet something deeper whispers of a guiding presence. Not a force of compulsion, nor an escape from all trials, but a protection that works in ways we scarcely perceive. Consider the times when doors that once seemed open have closed without explanation. It is easy to grieve their loss, to wonder why opportunity was snatched away, yet in the fullness of time one often sees that the path ahead would have led to ruin. We are not left to stumble blindly. That which we call misfortune may, in truth, be mercy veiled in disappointment. There is also the gentle restraint, the inner hesitation that keeps one from folly. Just as a loving parent does not allow a child to grasp the flame, there is a check upon the soul, an unspoken warning that saves us from disaster. This is not fear, nor the paralysis of doubt, but a quiet leading away from destruction. Those who listen closely recognize the subtle hand at work. And then there are the burdens too great to bear alone, the weight that suddenly grows lighter, though nothing has changed. It is not that suffering vanishes, but that we find strength beyond our own. The moment we ought to have fallen, we stand. The night that should have broken us passes, and we endure. This is no accident, no mere resilience of the will, but the surest proof that we do not walk alone. There are encounters that defy chance, voices that arrive in the hour of need, a timely word that reaches us just before despair takes root. It may be a friend, an unexpected kindness, even a passage read by seeming coincidence. Yet such moments are too precise to be mere happenstance. The very fabric of the world seems to bend, arranging itself to speak into our lives just when we need it most. One cannot forget the unseen battles, those dangers we never even realized we escaped. There are roads we might have taken, choices that could have undone us, yet some inexplicable shift, kept us from the edge. How many times have we looked back and seen that we were spared without ever knowing the peril at hand? Perhaps most mysterious of all is the transformation that takes place within. The heart that should have hardened grows softer. The wounds that should have embittered lead instead to compassion. Pain, once meaningless, takes on purpose. There is a hand not merely shielding from harm, but shaping, refining, turning suffering into wisdom, loss into longing for something greater. If one were to examine life with the clarity of hindsight, one would see a pattern, woven through every hardship and every unexpected turn. The world is not an accident, nor are our lives a series of meaningless events. There is protection at work, though it does not always come in the form we expect. Often it is quiet, often it is misunderstood, but always it is there. There is a peculiar sorrow that comes when a door, once open, is suddenly closed. The mind races with questions. Why was the opportunity taken away? Why did the path that seemed so right suddenly vanish? It is a natural thing to mourn what might have been, to feel that something precious has slipped through one's fingers. And yet, what if the closed door was not a loss, but a form of protection? What if, rather than being denied something good, one was being shielded from something unseen? It is the nature of human beings to believe they know what is best for themselves. A plan is made, a vision is set, and all efforts go toward bringing it to life. There is excitement in the pursuit, a sense of certainty that things are unfolding as they should, but then, without warning, the way forward is blocked. A rejection letter arrives, a relationship ends, a job opportunity dissolves. The door that seemed to lead to fulfillment is locked, and no amount of effort can force it open. In that moment, the heart rebels. It questions. It demands to know why. Yet, as time passes, one begins to see what was hidden before. That door, if opened, would not have led to joy, but to ruin. That path, if taken, would not have led to prosperity, but to sorrow. The hand that closed the door was not one of cruelty, but of love. There is a childlike quality in all who hope, a belief that if they reach for something hard enough, it should be theirs. Much like a child reaching for a flame, unaware of the danger, one often grasps at things that would bring harm. A closed door is the firm but gentle hand that pulls one back before the burn is felt. At the time, it seems unfair. The child cries, not understanding why they were stopped, but the one who sees beyond the moment understands. It is not punishment, it is protection. And so it is in life. It is easy to believe that the best outcome is always the one desired, but desire is not always aligned with wisdom. A person may yearn for a relationship that would only bring heartbreak. They may chase a career that would lead to an empty life. They may long for a move to a new place, unaware that disaster waits there. The human heart, for all its strength, is limited in sight. It sees what is in front of it, but cannot perceive what lies ahead. When a door is closed, it is not always a denial. It is often a redirection. It is a sign that the path was not meant to be walked. One might argue that they should have been allowed to learn for themselves, to walk through the door and face whatever consequences come. And yet, how many times has the heart been spared from unseen danger? There are moments when, years later, one looks back with gratitude for the unanswered prayer, for the opportunity that was taken away, a business venture that would have failed, a partnership that would have drained the spirit, a dream that would have turned into a nightmare. What once seemed like loss is now seen as mercy. There are also moments when the closed door is not only a means of protection, but a way of steering one towards something greater. A denied opportunity often leads to a better one. The job that was lost makes way for a career that brings fulfillment. The rejection from one place leads to an open door in another, far better than the first. The love that walked away makes room for a love that is true. In the moment of disappointment, this is difficult to see. But if one waits, if one allows time to reveal its work, understanding comes. Some may say that all of this is mere chance, that things simply happen with no deeper meaning. But to believe this is to ignore the patterns woven through life. How many times have doors closed at just the right moment to prevent disaster? How many times has a sudden shift in plans led to something far better than what was originally intended? It is not random. There is a wisdom at work, one that sees further than the human eye can perceive. It is not easy to accept a closed door. The heart longs for certainty, for guarantees that things will turn out as hoped. But certainty is not always possible, nor is it always good. If one were given everything they asked for, without question, they would soon find that many of their desires would have led to sorrow. There is wisdom in trusting that when a door is closed, it is for a reason. There is peace in believing that protection is at work, even when it is not immediately understood. To fight against a closed door is to struggle against what is meant to be. One can push and push, trying to force something that is not theirs, but it will only lead to exhaustion. How much better it is to accept, to trust, that if something is withheld, it is because something greater awaits. The world is full of those who, in hindsight, are grateful for the doors that never opened. They are grateful for the relationships that ended before they could cause deep wounds. They are grateful for the jobs they did not get, for the places they did not go, for the dreams that were reshaped into something better. It requires faith to believe that what seems like loss is actually protection. It requires patience to wait for understanding. But those who do will find that, in time, the truth is revealed. The closed door was never a rejection. It was never an abandonment. It was the unseen hand of mercy, guiding, shielding, and leading towards something far greater than what was left behind. There is a voice within, quiet but insistent, that speaks in moments of decision. It is not the loud demand of fear, nor the voice of doubt that weakens resolve, but something different, something steady. It does not always explain itself, yet it urges, restrains, redirects. It is the feeling that something is not right, the hesitation before stepping forward, the unshakable sense that a different path must be taken. Many dismiss it, pushing forward against its warning, only to find themselves in regret. Others heed it, though they do not understand why, and only later do they see how it protected them from unseen danger. It is easy to ignore this inner restraint. The mind is quick to argue, to reason away the hesitation. It says, "There is nothing wrong here, everything looks fine." And yet the feeling remains, persistent despite all logical assurances. It does not shout, but it does not leave. Those who have learned to listen to it know that it is no ordinary instinct, it is something greater. It does not always come with explanation, but it always comes with purpose. There are moments in life when everything appears to be in place. A decision seems good, an opportunity promising, all the circumstances align, and reason gives its full approval. Yet, deep inside, something resists. It is the quiet unease that cannot be named, the feeling that one should pause, reconsider, or even walk away. The more one tries to ignore it, the stronger it seems to grow. This is the nature of true restraint. It is not panic or fear, but a firm and steady signal that a different path must be chosen. Those who trust only what they can see may dismiss such feelings as foolishness. They may say, if there is no visible danger, why hesitate? But how many times have people ignored this quiet warning and walked straight into harm? How many times have they looked back and said, "Something told me not to do this, and I didn't listen"? Regret is often the result of ignoring the wisdom that comes before disaster. There is protection in restraint. It is a shield against what is unseen. Not every danger announces itself. Not every wrong path appears dark. Sometimes destruction wears a pleasing disguise. It comes in the form of an exciting opportunity, a persuasive voice, an open door that seems too good to refuse. And yet, for those who listen closely, there is always a warning before the fall. A whisper of discomfort, a delay that forces reconsideration, a sense that something is not quite right. Those who trust this voice are spared, even when they do not know from what. It is not always clear in the moment why a certain path should not be taken. The reasons may only become visible later, when the danger has passed. A deal that seemed perfect may have hidden consequences. A relationship that appeared promising may have led to heartbreak. A journey that seemed exciting may have carried unseen risks. Those who obey the inner restraint do not always get immediate confirmation of what they were spared from. They may never fully know what disaster was avoided, but those who have ignored it and suffered the consequences know all too well what it means to wish they had listened. This restraint is not meant to imprison. It does not hold back for the sake of holding back. It is not fear, for fear keeps a person from all things, while wisdom only keeps them from the wrong things. Restraint does not say, "Do not live." It says, "Do not walk this way." There is a difference. Fear paralyzes, restraint redirects. One is a prison, the other a safeguard. One steals life, the other preserves it. There are moments when life takes an unexpected turn, where a sudden change redirects the course of events. A door that seems certain to open is abruptly shut. An opportunity that appeared promising vanishes without warning. A relationship, a job, a dream, something that once felt secure is no longer within reach. It is natural to feel disappointed, even frustrated, when these moments arise. The mind begins to question, why was this taken away? Why did everything seem to align only for it to fall apart? Why does the path now feel uncertain, as if a vital piece of the puzzle has been removed? Yet there are times when what is taken away is not a loss, but a form of protection. The things people cling to are not always meant for them. A closed door is not a punishment. It is often a redirection. A path that is blocked is not a sign of failure, but an indication that something unseen is at work, preventing an outcome that would have brought harm or unnecessary struggle. The disappointment that arises is not because something good was taken, but because it is difficult to see in the moment that something better is being prepared. When something is removed, the initial reaction is often to fight against it. People hold on tightly to what they believe is best for them, resisting the change, trying to force a way forward. The loss feels unjust, the change unwelcome. But with time, clarity often emerges. Looking back, many recognize that what they thought they needed would not have served them well. The job they didn't get would have drained them. The relationship that ended would have brought heartache. The plan they so carefully crafted would have led to places they were not meant to go. It is difficult to accept this truth while standing in the middle of disappointment. The human mind prefers certainty, security, and control. It wants to understand every twist and turn before it happens. But life does not unfold in straight lines. It moves in unexpected ways. There are doors that close because what is behind them is not meant to be entered. There are paths that are blocked because they do not lead to the right destination. And there are things that are taken away, not because they were good, but because they were not enough. There is a story unfolding that is greater than what is visible in the moment. When something is removed, it creates space for something new. It may not be immediately clear what that something is, but absence is not emptiness. A tree that loses its leaves in winter is not dying. It is preparing for renewal. A field that is cleared of old growth is not barren. It is being readied for a new harvest. In the same way, what is removed from a person's life is not always a sign of loss, but an indication that something else is being made possible. There is often resistance to this idea because attachment is strong. People grow attached to what they know, to what is familiar, to what they have invested time and energy into. Even when something no longer serves them, the thought of losing it is frightening. The job that feels unfulfilling is still a source of stability. The relationship that no longer brings joy still carries memories. The plans that have been made still hold the illusion of control. But if something is removed, it is because it is no longer aligned with the greater story that is unfolding. Change is uncomfortable and uncertainty can feel overwhelming. But those who have walked through seasons of loss and transition often find, on the other side, that what they once mourned was not truly a loss. What they thought was a setback was actually a step forward. What they believed was the end of something good was in reality the beginning of something far greater. Looking back, they see that the door that closed was never truly theirs to walk through. The opportunity that passed them by was never meant to be grasped, and what was removed was not taken as a punishment, but as a kindness. There is wisdom in surrendering to this process. Instead of clinging to what is being removed, there is peace in trusting that something better is coming. Instead of resisting change, there is strength in embracing it. Instead of seeing loss as an end, there is power in recognizing it as a transition. The things that are meant to stay will stay, the things that are meant to go will go, and in the space that remains, something new will take root. The pain of losing something familiar is real. It is natural to grieve what was once loved, what once brought comfort. But just as the tide pulls back only to return, just as the night fades into morning, what is meant to be will always find its way. Those who have lost something they thought they could not live without often discover in time that they were not left empty, but were being prepared to receive something far greater than they had imagined. There is a purpose in every closed door, in every unexpected change, in every loss that does not make sense in the moment. And when the heart finally releases what it was never meant to hold on to, it becomes free to receive what was always meant to be. There are moments when life presents an escape, a sudden turn of events that spares one from harm. Perhaps it was a decision that felt insignificant at the time, taking a different route home, hesitating just long enough to miss a tragic event, choosing not to trust someone who later revealed their true nature. These moments are often dismissed as mere coincidence, but they carry within them something far greater than chance. They are glimpses of an unseen hand, orchestrating events to keep one from stepping into danger, shielding from harm that was never even perceived. Protection does not always come in the form of obvious intervention. Sometimes it is quiet, hidden beneath the ordinary. A missed appointment, an unexpected delay, a gut feeling that whispers, "Wait." At the time, these moments may be frustrating, even confusing. The mind prefers clarity. It desires to see the full picture immediately. Yet, in retrospect, many come to realize that these delays, these disruptions, were not obstacles at all. They were safeguards. They were the unseen barriers placed between an individual and an unseen danger. The world is full of choices, paths diverging in every direction. At times, a person stands at a crossroads, uncertain of which way to go. There is a natural inclination to push forward, to choose the path that seems easiest or most rewarding in the moment. But there are times when something stops them, There are moments when the heart feels an unshakable sense of peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, filled with unexpected turns, disappointments, and challenges that seem insurmountable. And yet, there are times when, despite everything, a calm reassurance settles within. It does not come from circumstances, nor does it arise from logic. It is a peace that defies understanding, a quiet knowing that somehow all will be well. It is the kind of peace that is not dependent on external security, but on something far deeper, an unseen presence guiding, strengthening, and sustaining. This peace does not mean an absence of difficulties. The world is full of struggles, moments of loss, and times of confusion. But there is a kind of protection that does not remove every obstacle, but instead provides strength to endure them. It is the quiet whisper in the storm, the stillness that remains even when everything else is shifting. It is a shelter not made of walls, but of an unshakable certainty that one is not alone. There are times when fear grips the heart, when anxieties rise and threaten to consume. The mind races with what-ifs, envisioning every possible disaster. But then something interrupts the spiral of worry. A thought, a feeling, a deep inner assurance that whispers, "You are held, you are safe, you are not alone." This peace does not come from ignoring reality. It comes from seeing reality clearly, yet knowing there is something greater at work. It is not a naive optimism, but a confidence that, even in the midst of trials, there is protection. Sometimes this peace arrives suddenly, in a moment of deep distress. A person facing uncertainty, overwhelmed by burdens, finds themselves inexplicably calm. They should be afraid, they should be anxious, and yet they are not. There is a presence surrounding them, a certainty that cannot be explained. Even if nothing has changed outwardly, something within has shifted. It is as though an invisible force has stepped in, silencing the storm within, offering a refuge that no circumstance can take away. This peace is a protection, because it allows one to stand firm when everything else is shaking. It guards the heart against despair, shields the mind from fear, and provides the strength to keep moving forward. It does not promise a life without hardship, but it ensures that no hardship will be faced alone. There is something profoundly powerful about walking through difficulties with the knowledge that one is not abandoned. It changes the way trials are faced, not as something to be feared, but as something that will be overcome. There are moments when, looking back, a person realizes they had every reason to fall apart, yet they didn't. They were held together by something greater than their own strength. They may not have seen it at the time, but they were being carried. The weight that should have crushed them did not. The fear that should have paralyzed them lost its grip. The sorrow that should have consumed them was met with an unexplainable comfort. And so they endured. They walked through the fire, but were not burned. They weathered the storm, but were not destroyed. This peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of something greater than struggle. It is a kind of protection that does not always remove the difficulty, but transforms the way it is experienced. It allows a person to rest even in the midst of chaos, to trust even when they cannot see the outcome. It is a constant presence, unseen yet unwavering, carrying them through when their own strength is not enough. There will always be storms in life. There will be challenges that arise, uncertainties that shake the foundation of what is known. But there is a peace that is greater than the storm, a calm that cannot be taken away. It is the deep, unshakable knowledge that one is never alone, that there is always a presence, guiding, protecting, and sustaining. It is a peace that allows one to move forward, not with fear, but with confidence. It is not a fleeting feeling, but a steady assurance that, no matter what comes, all will be well.